That's funny. Awesome. That was very impressive, actually. That we got everyone back in there. Zoe, no, it's fine. It's okay. It's fine. So if I were to ask you who are the most significant Jews you can think of, sort of name perhaps the most either historic or significant, who's a significant Jew that you can think of? That was awesome. I didn't understand anyone. Awesome. So someone, Abraham. All right, good. What's that? Shel Silverstein. I love it. Good. That was a good one. Excellent. Who else? Theodor Herzl. Good. Golda Meir. All right, good. Einstein. Nice. David Saperstein. Nice. Natalie Portman. Good. Okay. I don't know who said that one, but I agree with Natalie Portman. How about most significant in the Bible? We'll go with Bible. Moses. Who else? We said Abraham. We have Moses. Who? Jacob. Who else? Solomon. David. All right, good. Nice. All right, good. Good. All right. So I think that's a pretty nice, comprehensive list of significant Jews we can think of and significant biblical Jews that we can think of as well. And so we'll keep that in mind. Keep the biblical Jewish motif in your mind as we explore the particular biblical people that occur in this week's Torah portion. So we pick up from last week. So perhaps we talked about this last week, that we were vying for who was going to get to the Torah study last week. And so it's pretty equal for who gets to the Torah study this week, because Rabbi Khan I was last week, Rabbi Khan is this week. So last week's Torah portion was Vayetze, and incredible, amazing, talks about Jacob and the ladder with the angels going up and down. And then this week is Vayishlach, which is also Jacob, by the way, and it's all during his run. He's on a run, and not a light run, a quite fast run, because he left his father's house, because he acquired the birthright from his brother Esau, and so he's running from Esau, and he's also running from his father-in-law, which a lot of people do in general, Lavan, and so he's running. And so last week he was running, and he shows up to this place. He feels the presence of God there. It's really special. We have the angels going up and down on the ladder. And this week he's running also. He's running particularly because he hears that 400 men are accompanying his brother Esau to come find him. And so he thought, they're coming to kill me. 400 men means an army, and they're coming to kill me. And so it's not a good situation for him at this moment. And then he's so nervous, he sends his family across this river. And it's a big family at this point, because he has Rachel and Leah and their two handmaidens. And at this point, he has 12 kids. He'll have 13 kids soon, but right now he has 12 kids. So all 12 kids, the 4 wives, go across this river. And then the Torah tells us that he's alone. It says, literally, the Torah says, and Jacob was alone. And literally, the words after he's alone, it says, and he wrestled with a man. It says he was alone, and he wrestled with a man. And so oodles of commentary have been written trying to figure out who is this man that he's wrestling with. Could have been himself, could have been Esau, his brother, who, they weren't really close. It could have been any number of different concepts or ideas. But the question that I have, along with some assistance from Jonathan Sachs, who is the former head rabbi of England, have this question, because I asked you at the beginning to name some significant Jews. And Zach, you said it, but you're the only one to mention Jacob. Because on a list, when you think of significant Jews, even though it's Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, it's pretty significant, it's not the first name you think of. It's not immediately the name. Maybe you think Moses first, even though Abraham comes first in chronological order. You don't think of Jacob necessarily. But so Jonathan Sachs brings up this great point to ask, what's the significance of Jacob? Why does Jacob essentially get to be this extremely famous guy, and so famous that we'll talk about in a second, why he's so famous? And so he asked a question, why Jacob? Jacob is not what Noah was. The text says that Noah was righteous in his generation. Not Abraham. He didn't leave his land and his birthplace. He wasn't Isaac, who literally offered to sacrifice himself for the ideals of Judaism. None of those things. So why does Jacob get to sort of be the person that we are actually called the descendants of? We're the descendants of Jacob. We really are. We're not called the descendants of Abraham. We're not called the descendants of Isaac. We're not called the descendants of Moses. We're called the descendants of Jacob. And so he wonders, why is that? Why is that he gets to get this sort of fame on being this extremely important person that is the person literally that we're named after? And so here is the connection that he makes, and it's between last week and this week. So last week he wanders into this holy area and he goes to sleep and he dreams of this ladder with the angels. And this week he sends across his family and he's by himself, and he has a wrestling match with a person or with an angel or with himself or with God. And so the text actually asks this question. It asks the question, why Jacob? Jacob is the man who has his deepest spiritual experience alone and at night. In the face of danger and far from home, he is the man who meets God when he least expects it, when his mind is on other things, when he is in a state of fear and possibly on the brink of despair. He is the one who gets to spend these alone moments with God. No one else does, except for him. He's the only one who gets to do that. Abraham gave the Jews the courage to challenge idols. Like I said, Isaac, the self-sacrifice. But Jacob gave us the knowledge that precisely when we feel the most alone, God is still with us, giving us the courage and the strength and the connection and the hope. It's in that moment that Jacob finds the connection. In the dark, by himself, terrified. Sometimes our deepest spiritual experiences come when we least expect them and when we're closest to despair. Sometimes when we think there's nothing else that can be done, there's no situation that can be fixed, that in that moment sometimes, that's when God appears, and that's when we have that connection, and that is what Jacob shows us. And that is perhaps why we are the children of Jacob. We find God not only in the holy places or the familiar places, but also in the journeys that we make. The most profound of all spiritual experiences, the base of all others, is the knowledge that we are actually not alone. God is holding us by the hand, sheltering us, lifting us, connecting to us. And maybe that's the significance of Jacob in this moment. That is the significance. That Vayishlach, this week's Torah portion, and Jacob teach us the power that we have, particularly in our vulnerability, in the courage we have when we're wrestling, whether it's with ourselves or with an idea or with a concept or with something bigger in our lives. When we're wrestling, actually, because it actually says in the text that Jacob wrestles not only with humans, but with divine beings as well. So whenever we're wrestling, maybe that's the point, that's the space that God exists for us. And so it's no secret, because you've heard the story before, not the first time you're hearing Vayishlach, but this is why in the wrestling, Jacob gets his name changed. And it's changed from Jacob to Israel. Because Israel means to wrestle with God. And so it's the same guy. We are the children of Israel. We are the children of Jacob. We're not the children of Moses. We're not the children of Isaac. We're not the children of Abraham. We're the children of Israel. All of us, every Jew on the planet Earth, is part of the children of Israel. And that is the children of Jacob. He is the legacy. He is the name that we carry on us. He is the name of the country that we connect to, the land that we connect to. It's Israel. It's the Star of David. It's the Jewish star. All of those things all come from this concept of Jacob and Israel. And it's in that moment, perhaps, in that struggle in the dark by himself, is when we get the power, actually. When we become the God strugglers. When we become the people who say, you know what, I'm not good with that. And I want to push a little more. I want to study a little more. I want to know a little more. I want to grind this out a little bit more. That is the true point that we learn from Jacob, alone in the dark. We are not the children of Moses. We are not the children of Abraham. We are the children of Jacob, the children of Israel. And that was the heritage that Jacob gave to us and is ours. Though we may fall, though others may lose faith, and though we may even lose faith in ourselves sometimes, God never loses faith in us. And though we may truly feel utterly alone, we are not. Because God is there, God is beside us, within us, urging us to stand and move on and to push ourselves. And so we are destined to be God wrestlers. But the beautiful part of Israel, of the wrestling, is that even if we feel alone, we really are never alone. Shabbat Shalom. Mark Lerner is here, and he has a few announcements for us on behalf of the Board of Directors.
Shabbat Shalom. Mazel Tov on the baby naming. Good stuff. Glad we